Not everyone in life tells the truth. Sometimes the person sitting across from us looks as if they're being sincere, but behind their words lies a hidden intention. And often they don't just stop at lying. They also try to control our thoughts through the questions they ask. The most striking part is that these questions seem harmless at first glance. They sound like ordinary sentences dropped in the middle of a casual conversation. But in reality, they touch our subconscious, weaken our defenses, and make us doubt ourselves. It's as if a hidden game is being played. And without realizing it, we're being drawn into it. The Stoics, however, give us a powerful lesson for such moments. Remain calm, don't be enslaved by your emotions, and never give up on seeking the truth, because our greatest weapon is our cool, rational mind. When we act with clarity instead of emotions, no lie and no manipulation can shake us off our path. So let's explore together. What are the 5 cunning questions liars most often use? How do they try to influence us with these questions? And most importantly, how can we overcome these games with Stoic wisdom? If this topic speaks to you and you'd like to stay updated on deep, life-changing content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with your friends. Remember, your one simple share might open someone's eyes and protect them from manipulation. If you're ready, let's begin. Without wasting time, let's start with the first question. The first question is, don't you trust me? This question may sound simple, but in reality, it's one of the strongest tools of manipulation. The person asking it is directly targeting your conscience, because for every human being, the idea of trust is deeply valuable. We naturally want to trust those we love, those close to us. And if we suddenly hear this question, we immediately start blaming ourselves. Maybe I really am being too suspicious. Maybe I'm showing too much distrust. But don't forget, this is often a question asked to cover up a lie or a hidden intention, because a truly honest person never asks, don't you trust me? Instead, they prove their reliability through their actions. If someone is asking you this, it usually means they're hiding something. The Stoics remind us, trust is not something demanded with words. It's a value earned over time. So if a person asks you this question, the answer is simple. Their behavior has not earned your trust, because those who strengthen trust through their actions never feel the need to voice it. Think of it like this. If a bridge is strong, you don't feel unsafe walking across it. Nobody asks you, do you trust this bridge? Because its strength is obvious. But if the bridge is weak, if the planks are breaking under your feet and it shakes with every step, of course you won't trust it. The same goes for people. Trust comes from the strength of actions, not words. Manipulators use this question to make your conscience feel guilty. They want you to be ashamed of your doubts and back down. But Stoic wisdom teaches us, if their behavior is unreliable, then trust does not exist. It's that simple. No feelings, no guilt can change that fact. Moreover, the Stoics say trust is not only about others. It's first about trusting your own mind. If deep down you feel that the person in front of you isn't sincere, don't suppress that feeling, accept it. Sometimes our subconscious sees what our eyes don't, and our intuition warns us. Now ask yourself, why would someone say, don't you trust me? If they are truly honest, there's no point in asking. Their actions would have already proven it. But if their actions don't match their words, then this question is just a trap designed to make you abandon your doubts. That's why, in such situations, the Stoic approach is to remain calm. There's no need to get angry, to shout, or to respond emotionally. Instead, coolly ask yourself, has this person's behavior earned my trust or not? The answer is already clear within you, and if they haven't earned it, then you are under no obligation to trust. Remember, trust is not a gift, it's a result. And if that result is missing, no one has the right to make you feel guilty about it. As the Stoics used to say, no one can control your mind unless you allow it. So don't let anyone confuse your mind with a single manipulative sentence. Second question, do you think I would do something like that? This question is one of the most common defensive tactics used by liars. At first glance, it may seem like the person is simply defending themselves. But in reality, with this sentence, they're trying to soften your doubts, to plant the thought in your mind. Maybe they really wouldn't do something like that. There's a natural tendency in humans to project their own character onto others. If we wouldn't do something, we often assume the other person wouldn't either. Manipulators take advantage of this. They ask rhetorical questions like, do you think I would do something like that? To make themselves appear innocent. This is in fact a psychological game. The answer is already forming in your mind. Scenarios immediately start playing in your head. They are close to me, my friend, part of my family. Could they really do something like that? And slowly you start softening the negative thoughts about them. That's precisely the manipulator's goal. But Stoic wisdom highlights a very clear truth here. A person is revealed not by their words, but by their actions. If someone's behavior makes you doubt them, a single sentence like, "Would I do something like that?" should not erase those doubts. Words are easy to say. Actions cannot be hidden. You can see this in a simple everyday example. Imagine a friend owes you money and has promised repeatedly to pay it back but never does. One day you ask, "So are you going to pay it back or not?" They smile and reply, "Do you think I wouldn't pay it?" At first this might sound convincing, but what's the fact? The truth is they still haven't returned the money. The Stoics teach us not to fall under the spell of words. What reveals a person's character is not what they say, but the consistent actions they take. If actions and words don't match, always prioritize actions. When you hear this question, ask yourself, yes, they say they wouldn't do such a thing, but what have their actions shown me so far? If their actions have created distrust, then this question is just an empty defense mechanism. There's also a hidden message in this question. Don't question me. Assume I'm innocent. It's meant to guide you toward blind belief rather than analysis. The Stoic approach says the opposite. Analyze everything. Compare what you see with what you hear. Truth is discovered not through blind faith, but through calm, rational observation. So if someone asks you, "Do you think I would do something like that?" prepare your mind to respond. Their words are trying to make them look innocent, but their actions tell me the truth. And remember, never let your emotions decide for you. Emotions can be easily deceived, but facts never lie. The Stoics said, a wise person pays attention not only to what is said, but also to what is shown. So don't let this question confuse you. If their actions don't align, this sentence has no real value. Third question, you don't love me, do you? This question is not just a statement, it's a powerful form of emotional manipulation. Love is one of the deepest feelings for any human. When we love, we want to be protected and valued. That's why when this question is asked, many people immediately feel guilty. Maybe I'm not showing enough love. Maybe I should be more attentive. But notice, this question is often asked to cover the truth. The person in front of you is shifting the focus, hiding their lie or secret intention behind your feelings of love. They know that when love is involved, emotions are at their strongest. Stoic wisdom teaches a very clear lesson here. Love and respect should never be used as tools of manipulation. If someone tries to confuse you using love, that's already a warning sign in the relationship. Healthy love frees a person. Manipulation enslaves them. There's a hidden game behind this sentence. Essentially, the person is saying, don't question me. Don't accuse me, or I will make you doubt your love for me. In other words, they play the love card to silence you. This is one of the clearest signs that a relationship is being steered off a healthy path. Think about it. If someone genuinely loves and values you, why would they need to ask this question? Their actions, care, attention, and honesty already prove their love. But casting doubt, asking, "You don't love me, do you?" is an attempt to cover their own behavior. You can see this in everyday life. Suppose someone treats you disrespectfully and hurts you. When you address it, they immediately ask, "You don't love me, do you?" The purpose is clear. Divert your attention from their actions to your feelings. You feel guilty and try to soften the issue. And so the real problem fades into the background. The Stoic approach says, love should be pure but not blind. Loving someone does not mean you cannot question their actions. On the contrary, healthy love is built on open dialogue and honesty. A relationship based on manipulation is doomed to fail. Seneca said, love is a free agreement, not a compulsion. If the person in front of you uses love as a weapon, the relationship has already moved from freedom to coercion, and the only anchor you have is your strong mind. When you hear this question, ask yourself, is my love really in doubt? Or is the person in front of me trying to cover their own actions? Most of the time, the answer will be the latter. So in such situations, remain calm and don't get carried away by emotions. Getting angry or immediately trying to prove yourself will only strengthen the manipulation. The most appropriate response is, love is my feeling, but actions also show their consequences. This statement frees you from guilt and holds up a mirror to the other person. Remember, love should never be built on fear or guilt. If this question comes up frequently in a relationship, It's a sign that there is manipulation rather than genuine love. The Stoics teach us that any relationship not built on truth cannot endure. Now let's move on to the fourth cunning question. This question is, but haven't you ever made a mistake yourself? This is one of the subtlest forms of manipulation. The game here is simple: to divert attention from themselves. Instead of admitting their own fault, the person changes the topic and shines the spotlight on you. At first glance, this question may seem fair. After all, nobody is without mistakes. Each of us has made countless errors throughout our lives and will continue to do so. That's why this question immediately puts us on the defensive. We inevitably think, yes, I have made mistakes. Maybe I shouldn't push so hard against them now. But here lies the subtle game. Your mistakes may have nothing to do with the topic under discussion. The conversation is about their responsibility, yet they try to shift it onto you. The Stoic approach offers a simple truth: everyone can make mistakes, but someone else's mistakes cannot serve as an excuse for you to accept their lies. No one can escape responsibility by comparing their actions to yours. Think of it like this. Someone runs a red light and causes an accident. When the police stop them, they say, "But you break rules sometimes too. Haven't you ever made a mistake?" The intent is obvious: to divert attention from their real fault. But does it change the outcome? No. If they caused an accident, they are responsible. It's the same in daily relationships. Suppose you are discussing honesty with someone who has lied. When you confront them, they respond, "But haven't you ever made a mistake?" This is an attempt to shift the topic. Your mistakes do not erase their lie. The Stoics advise a clear approach in these cases. Remain calm and do not stray from the topic. You can respond, "Yes, I have made mistakes. But right now we are not talking about mine. We are talking about what you did." This statement protects you from guilt and prevents the other person from escaping responsibility. Remember, the purpose of this question is to make you search for guilt within yourself. If you react emotionally or go on the defensive, the manipulation strengthens. The most effective approach is to stay composed and redirect the focus back to the topic. Here is an important Stoic lesson. A person who compares themselves to others' mistakes is actually avoiding the truth. The truth is simple. Everyone is responsible for their own actions. No one else's mistakes absolve another person of their own wrongdoing. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. You've probably noticed people who, whenever their mistakes are pointed out, immediately remind you of someone else's errors. But so-and-so did the same thing. Or you've done it too in the past. This creates an illusion. The real issue suddenly fades into the background, but in reality, your mistakes have nothing to do with their behavior. Stoic wisdom offers a strong guiding principle here. When evaluating someone else's behavior, focus solely on that behavior. Your past mistakes do not justify their lies. Everyone is responsible for their own actions, and no one can shift that responsibility onto another. So when you hear questions like this, always keep this in mind. Yes, I have made mistakes. But right now, the discussion is about them, their responsibility, their behavior, their truth. This will free you from the trap of manipulation. Remember, an honest person admits their mistakes. A manipulator always diverts responsibility. Finally, the fifth question. Who do you trust, me or them? This question is, in essence, one of the subtlest forms of blackmail. The person wants to put you in a position where you must choose either them or the other. But never forget, the truth never requires a choice. Reality remains reality. It does not change based on whose side you take. Stoic wisdom teaches us the same: to see the truth. You do not need to take sides, simply remain calm and perceive what is as it is. The person asking this question is trying to fracture you from the inside, because they know that the greatest pressure in relationships comes from being forced to choose me or choose them. In reality, this reflects fear and hidden truth, not a healthy relationship. An honest person would never ask such a question because honesty has no sides, only transparency and truth. Now think for a moment, why do we feel uneasy in this situation? Because we fear losing the connection we've built on love, friendship, or respect. Manipulators exploit that fear to guide you toward the answer they want. The Stoic perspective gives us a powerful lesson here. No emotion should obscure the truth. Loving someone does not mean ignoring the truth. On the contrary, love should strengthen within truth. Also consider, if someone tells you, believe me or them, this is a clear sign of abandoning honesty. In reality, they are afraid the truth will be revealed. As the Stoics say, fleeing from truth is fleeing from oneself. How should you respond in such a situation? The healthiest approach is to remain calm. There is no need to shout, justify yourself, or respond emotionally. In these moments, their goal is to provoke you, confuse your thinking, and prevent you from making rational decisions. You, however, must stand as a Stoic, composed and clear, saying, "The truth does not require taking sides. I look at the facts." This response unsettles them because they realize your judgment is based on reality, not emotion. Remember, if a relationship is built only on a forced choice, it is already poisoned. A healthy connection will never demand that you reject someone else. True strength in a relationship comes from reality and mutual trust. Most importantly, you must remain true to yourself. As the Stoics say, even under the pressure of others, maintaining your own principles is true strength. Dear viewers, if you have encountered such manipulative questions in your life, know that you are not alone. This is a test many face. Liars often try to hide the truth through wordplay. But remember, a person who stays calm, controls their emotions, and seeks the truth is never a victim of manipulation. Stoic wisdom teaches us this. Keep your mind strong, for it is your greatest shield. If you find these topics interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so more people can benefit. Your support opens the door to new paths of wisdom. Also, activate the notification bell so you can be alerted to new videos immediately. See you in the next video.